Good morning. It is Tuesday today, and I have clinic, so heading into the office now. Have to look up, see if anybody's here yet. I don't think so. It's pretty early, but we have about 8 patients to see today, so we'll see how it goes. So Tuesday is my assigned clinic day, and regardless of the rotation I'm on, I'm required to be at clinic. So typically, if I'm on a research rotation, I'll come during the morning, but if I have an inpatient rotation, I'll come in the afternoon. So today I arrived around 7:30 to do a little prep work in the fellow's office and to finish reviewing any charts that I hadn't previewed the night before. So clinic days during fellowship are half days, and you usually go once per week, and you're paired up with one attending and you see their patients regularly. One important thing about clinic is that you have to prepare by doing some pre-charting, and that's what I'm doing right here. Pre-charting basically means that you look at how old the patient is, what their heart problem, and what other chronic conditions they have. You review their growth on a standardized growth chart, and you also review their prior echo. Once you have this information, then you can determine what your goals for the visit will be, and it will help you to decide if you need more imaging or if you just need to change your management. Okay, so it looks like my first patient is checked in. They have to go to get an echo before we see them. So I'm just gonna wait until the echo is underway, and I'll be reviewing the images here. Once that's done, our nurses will switch the patient from the echo room to the exam room. They'll get their vitals and everything. The nurse will typically come to me, tell me how the patient's doing, if they have any concerns, and then I will go see them and talk to them. Then I chat with my attending, because she is the primary doctor for them. I'll tell her kind of like what I think we should do, and she'll make the final plan, and then we'll go in together and tell the family. So that's what I'll be doing today. So today I saw a patient who had a coarctation of the aorta as a baby. And here's a fun fact. The aorta is the largest artery in the body. It starts at your heart and goes down into your belly. So think of the aorta like a big water hose. This hose carries fresh, oxygen-rich blood from the heart to the rest of the body, so it's the most important vessel in the whole body. Now, let's take a closer look at the heart. Do you see where it's labeled as coarctation? Well, that's just a fancy word that means narrowing. Now, what would happen if you were to pinch a water hose? Well, the water would flow and it would slow down and even stop altogether, right? Well, in the case of our body, when the aorta becomes narrow, the heart has to work extra hard to pump blood to it to make sure that the rest of the body gets the blood it needs to stay healthy. And in this next clip, I'm going to show you an echocardiogram of a baby with a coarctation. But I don't expect you to understand what you're seeing necessarily, since interpreting these images is actually part of a cardiology fellowship training. I thought it would be cool to just have you see a clear illustration of this condition and how we view it on the echocardiogram. So you see that little candy cane looking structure in figure B? Well, that is the aortic arch. And if you follow it down, you will see the coarctation, which is the narrowing in the aorta, and that is abnormal. So in this video loop, you can see the echo, and I've circled the coarctation here. If you observe closely, you'll notice a Doppler effect that's similar to what you might actually see on the news when they're reporting the weather and indicating the intensity of a storm. So similarly, in an echocardiogram, the Doppler effect is used to display how fast and in what direction blood is moving inside of the heart and its arteries. So this helps us find any problems with the heart and measure how much pressure there is and check to see if the heart is working right. Now back to my clinic patient. He had surgery to have his aorta repaired, and we typically need to see these patients about every 6 months. It's already been a couple of years since the surgery, so we worry about the aorta becoming narrow over time after surgery because of scarring. So thankfully, the echo looked pretty good today, and the blood pressure was actually a little bit high, but it was still within a normal range. So we just decided to keep an eye on it and not make any changes. but we will continue to see the patient, and in about 6 months, we'll repeat our evaluation. I am
She's a blogger.
back in the office. I finished my clinic.
Back in the blogging
And
game.
I asked Palveen to be in my vlog, and she said no.
And I said, I give better option. I give option that others can be in the blog.
I'm the better option.
Hi, Adarsh.
Hello.
Because you're a new face.
I'm the better option.
So I'm gonna work on my notes. So exciting. So after clinic, I prioritize reading my echoes, which means that I write a formal report on what we found in the imaging. This can take a while because you have to do a variety of measurements and you also need to compare them to previous imaging. This is something I've been doing more of this year because last year I was focusing more on actually performing the echo, so now I have a better understanding of what I'm looking for. I also like to do this when my co-fellows are around because if I run into a question or something like that that I don't understand, I can always ask them for help. All right, so I'm done with my notes and I did a little bit more computer work, again, working on my research project. And basically, I'm just getting all of my research things translated to Spanish because I'm going to be enrolling people that are also Spanish speaking. So I'm pretty much done with that, so I'm going to go home. All right, so I am done with the day, thank God. So one of the things I was gonna say earlier that I think a lot of people don't realize how much time doctors spend in front of a computer at work. And it definitely was a lot more like that during residency because when you're a resident, you're always pretty much the primary person who takes care of a patient. So you're always responsible for doing all of their documentation. But as a fellow, that's a little bit less, and typically you write less notes than what you did in residency. In our program, some of our patients are still like under our direct care, so we do write those notes, and then if you're seeing patients in the clinic like I did today, I will write those notes as well. But the reason why they take so long, I think, especially for us, is because not only do we have to summarize the clinic visit, but we also have to read their echoes, and then we also have to put in reads for their EKGs, and then if there's any other form of imaging that we have to review, you have to also kind of attest to the fact that you reviewed all the imaging and stuff. That's really the bulk of what takes up so much time when it comes to documentations. Just something to keep in mind if you're not really like a computer person or you struggle with writing notes. It's really good to like get in the habit of writing good notes and then learning how to write them as efficiently as possible, because otherwise you could be spending hours and hours doing your notes when you could be going home. I feel like now that it's been second year, I've gotten much better at it, but initially, especially with reading echo, it took me a while, but I think things are getting better overall. So yeah, I'm gonna head home now and try to fix something for dinner. I know Michael is done with work, so we're probably gonna spend some time together this evening.